All right, we're going to get this started. Thank you so much for joining me, whether it's live or a replay. This is Adios Anxiety: How to Overcome Panic, Fear, and Anxiety, and actually use those tools in order to learn and expand your consciousness. I had no idea when I set this workshop up what was going to happen yesterday at the time of this recording. It is the day after a bunch of people stormed various government buildings. And I'm not going to make this a political workshop because this is a workshop about mastering of the self and mastering one of the three things that you can control, which are your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own actions. So I'm just going to get started. It's a couple of minutes after the hour. Maybe people are still trickling in, but obviously I'm just going to get this started and welcome. Thank you for being here. And since I believe everything starts with an intention, I invite you right now to take a pen and paper and write down your intention for this next hour, hour and a half. My intention is to provide you with tools that will shift your experience of anxiety in a way that allows you to observe, learn, and recalibrate your actions so that you can grow and eventually use this negative emotion as a co-creator in having a more positive, uplifting, and empowering experience. And I know that you might be at a spot right now where that sounds absolutely impossible, but I'm going to plant those seeds today. So just like last week, we're going to go through and we're going to talk a little bit about context, why this is important. I'm going to give you some practical everyday tools that you can use, one of them being drink a lot of water. And then I'm going to take you through a guided meditation. And remember that you're going to get the recording of this, and you can use that meditation. You can either make it yours or you can listen to that meditation at any time and actually use it for any one of the negative emotions that come up. I want to make it really clear that nothing that I'm offering today should be taken as medical advice, and nothing that I offer today should be done, implemented, acted upon if it is in opposition to any thing that a physician or a therapist that you're under the care of has asked you to do. I'm sharing with you the tools and the trainings and the techniques that have helped me personally over a really intense journey that led me to kind of a line in the sand about 4 or 5 years ago. And I noticed that this last year, I didn't completely backslide into what I used to have a panic disorder, an anxiety disorder. And I was like, wow, 2020 would have been the year to have it backslide and come up. But I noticed that I was using tools and that they were working. That doesn't mean I was absent of anxiety. It doesn't mean that 2020 was super easy. And it doesn't mean that I expect smooth sailing from here on out. Okay. So a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that you turn off all of your notifications. I'm going to do the same. And also, give yourself this hour, hour and a half to really relax and hang out and enjoy. Excuse me. Excuse me. And you know what? I'm just going to check real quick before I get into this because no one is here live. It just might be a weird time. No one's here live, but I want to see if there's anyone. Okay. No one's saying that. And I'm just going to check my email really fast. I'm so sorry about this. Okay. All right. So people just must not be able to make it live to this recording. That's totally okay. All right. So notifications, please just turn off your notifications, make this hour all about you. And then if for some reason my technology gets, or my bandwidth gets interrupted, we have a teleworking situation going on with my husband, and sometimes he has to stream crazy stuff for his work. just know that if for some reason I get kicked off, I will be right back on. Please be patient with me, okay? So this was for people if you were going to be here live. If you are here and you have questions as things come up, please put them in the chat box. I know that some of these topics can be really vulnerable. If you'd prefer to remain anonymous, go ahead and privately message them to me and I will keep your name anonymous. If you're watching this recording later on, why don't you join the Creative Visionary Connection Network and you have questions, go ahead and tag me, like post them in the group after I let you in and tag me in the questions and I'll be happy to answer those. I usually do weekly lives just for the group and my page that are separate from these, addressing the concerns and questions of the members therein. So it's a really great place to be if you want to join. Okay, so many of you who signed up are familiar with me, but in case you're not familiar with me, I am Erin Vasquez. I'm a Master Certified Neurolinguistic Programming Coach, also Master Certified Timeline Therapy practitioner and hypnotherapist. So basically, all that means is that I use the power of the unconscious mind to help artists rewire themselves to live an aligned, authentic, and abundant life. And please excuse me for a moment. Okay. So I help artists of all kinds do that, and I help them get out of their own way. And one of the things that I do to help people get out of their own way. Hi, Alicia. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. One of the ways that I help people get out of their own way is by teaching them how to master the only three things that they can control, which are their own thoughts, their own feelings, and their own actions. Obviously, anxiety is a feeling, it's an emotion, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. But some of will notice that the actions and the thoughts are all interconnected. So I will be talking about actions that you can take that will affect the feeling of anxiety in a way that will be really positive. Okay, so let's see, let's do, sorry about that. Da, da, da. All right, so what we are going to, I'm gonna switch that. Okay. So hopefully you're with me so far on that. The reason I wanted to explore all of this is because, unfortunately, and I hope that I'm wrong, I was, I saw a lot of stuff online about, okay, cool, like 2021 is here, 2020 is over. And I don't think that 2021 is going to be that much more chill than 2020. Again, I hope I'm wrong. And I wanted to give people a way, if they wanted to kind of use all of the natural and appropriate emotions that come up and refunnel them into a learning tool so you could actually go and focus on what it is that you do want for your life. Because I'm guessing that no one here wants chaos. No one here wants the drama and the confusion and all of the unclarity of everything. All right. So I hope I'm wrong about 2021. It's so easy to get distracted in all of the chaos, in all of the dialogue, in all of the fighting that has just become a part of life. And today I invite you guys to choose a different way of life. Like the fighting that we experience on the outside is somewhat reflective of the fighting that we have on inside of ourselves. And the more that we clear up the inner fighting and the inner dialogue that is combative, the less that we're going to engage in the external chaos of everything and really be able to experience the world in a different way if we choose to. So I truly believe that change comes from within, and we can take that inner change and we can take it to our families, we can take it to our communities, and then go out into the other world, but it has to come within first. So we already know that there's chaos, there's fear, there's confusion, and it can all naturally lead to anxiety. And this is not an anxiety like bashing workshop, not at all. I actually want to take the demonization from anxiety for a second. Anxiety is actually a beautiful, beautiful tool that can help us show that can show us several things, that something gets to heal, that something gets to shift, something gets to release, or something gets to resolve, and or something gets to resolve. It can be any combination of those four things. And in our primitive brains, anxiety is this beautiful tool that back in the day when we were hunting saber-toothed tigers, it helped us activate that fight or flight so that we could survive. And as much as we've evolved and we're meeting from all over the world via Zoom and no one here is hunting saber-toothed tigers, somehow we haven't evolved from that really primal fear-based reaction. And so much so that the people who have designed some of the things that trigger that fear-based reaction in us, like if you haven't watched The Social Network, go watch The Social Network. They know that it's triggering something in us, and then we start to create this cycle where fear or another negative emotion is our psychological home, and we seek it out because it's familiar to us, and we're not consciously understanding that it can actually be a tool. We're just stuck in this cycle of fear, 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 fear. And I know that when I was, if you read my emails or whatever, you know that I had panic disorder for 20 years, like debilitating panic attacks, and it was so hard to see the way out. But if you decide and stop and notice and assess the anxiety in the moment and start using some of the tools that you're going to learn today, um, things will change. Things will absolutely change. Okay. So, anxiety can be a teacher, it can be a tool. The things that trigger us can teach us. When we go back inside and take responsibility for the emotion and for the reaction and understanding that something has to heal, shift, release, and or resolve, we are becoming more powerful than we possibly know. We cannot control whether or not people are storming upon government buildings. We cannot control it. It is out of our control. Our control is within ourselves. So, if we if we mire in the anxiety, what suffers? Our creativity. I think a lot of you follow me because I love helping creatives. And whether you consider yourself a creative in the regular sense or not, we are all creating our own lives through our own language. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys were on here yet. You ladies were on here yet. If you have any questions, please just put them in the chat box, and I'll answer them after the meditation. If you're feeling a little vulnerable and you want to keep it anonymous, just direct message or like private message them to me in the chat box, and I'll keep you anonymous, okay? So just let me know. We're going over a lot today, okay? So your creativity suffers. We all know that anxiety releases a hormone called cortisol, which is not healthy for us. It increases, like it makes us store fat, and it does all. I don't know the specifics behind it, but it ain't good, right? We can't focus on a compelling vision of the future if we're scrolling through social media all day and it's just like the world's on fire, like all of this shit is going on. Then how can we focus on a picture of our future where we're connecting, where we're serving, where we're creating, where we're thriving? It's because focus goes, or energy flows where our focus goes, okay? And that is because of something called the reticular activating system. And I'm going to teach you how to focus on a compelling future here in a little bit. But the reticular activating system is a great example is, who here has ever decided that they're going to buy a car and then all of a sudden they see that car everywhere everywhere. You hadn't noticed it before, but all of a sudden it's absolutely everywhere. This year we bought a camper, and all of a sudden I am seeing this exact camper everywhere. I had never noticed it before. Never, ever, ever. But that's because once we bring something to our consciousness and we decide to focus on going getting it, that's what we're going to experience. The same thing happens with fear, with bad news, with stories of why we can't do what it is that we desire to do as creatives, whether the world is on fire or not. If we focus on it's difficult, that person that my aunt knew went broke, or whatever it is, we're going to keep finding those reasons, as opposed to listening to podcasts of people who have done what we want to do or are in that arena, and they're telling a story of like, this really difficult thing came up, but I found a solution this way, and now I've decided to take that knowledge and transform it into a solution. Welcome, Emma. I'm just going to repeat this really quick. If you have any questions during this live stream, just type them in the chat and I will answer them after the meditation. If you're feeling a little vulnerable and you want to stay anonymous, go ahead and just private message me. And I'm going to mute you. Okay, so again, what we focus on will expand. So how do we rise above all of this craziness and focus on what we want when it would, oh cool, Nick made it too. Awesome. All right. Good. I'm glad people are getting here. Okay, so how do we focus on all of these things when there's so many things vying for our attention and demanding that we be in fear and in anxiety? Okay, so the practical tools that I'm going to cover in this are body related, mind related, and soul related. We'll end with the soul related being the guided meditation, and then we'll end with the Q&A, okay? So body, you guys, I want to preface this with, I don't know if you're like me in this way, but I hear things that are really simple and I'm like, it can't be that simple. That's stupid. So I'll disregard the advice. Like, I don't know where I picked up this story, and please reject at an unconscious level because this isn't true, that it has to be complicated, that it has to be convoluted, that it has to be like totally complex in order for it to work, right? In order for it to have any kind of value. But what I'm going to offer you right now are pieces of advice that I finally started listening to. And I was like, oh, look at that. I feel a lot better in my body. So I'm going to talk to you about the basics. 1, are you getting enough water? Are you getting enough water? This might seem a little weird and gross. I like to play a game with myself, and I know that I'm winning if my urine is clear. That means I'm getting enough water. It means I'm keeping myself healthy, and it helps get other toxins out. If I have a little French fry binge, I can get out with the water. If I'm taking on energy, creatives tend to be taking on a ton of energy. You guys, the water helps flush that out too. You guys are probably all incredibly empathic, pretty sensitive. Maybe you're still at a stage in your life where you're discounting that. I want you to know, especially if you were drawn to this workshop because you experience anxiety, there is a sensitivity to the outer world that you get to shield yourself from. And I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but the water helps move and shift that. Especially after this meditation, you're going to shift energy. I want you to go drink water. Anytime you come to one of my workshops, I want you to drink a lot of water. I want it to feel like you're peeing at an annoying amount, basically. All right. That's what I tell my private clients too. Like, before you show up to the session, you should be annoyed by how much you have to pee. Okay. All right. Coffee. I am so guilty of this. Do you treat coffee like it is? Alicia, it's okay. Yeah, Emma, it's okay. Do you treat it like it's its own food group? Do you realize at 11 a.m. that you've had like 3 cups of coffee and maybe a piece of fruit and a piece of toast, and you're like, I feel really wired? I invite you to be intentional about coffee and caffeine and sugar consumption. If you're in my Facebook group, I posted the other day that I'm trying to release coffee from my life. I did a full day yesterday without it, and I had a cup of coffee today. It is a mofo to kick. I tried to kick it when I was pregnant, and I still had one cup of coffee every day through my entire pregnancy, some days twice. I was able to quit cigarettes. I was able to quit wine, no problem. Coffee, mofo. But if we bring an intention to it and start like maybe like just one cup, all right? Like, and let's not treat it like a food group. And let's also put something else in our body before we drink half a pot. And I'm telling you, I'm guilty of it. Okay. Food. Um, what are we putting in our body? And I know that like organic food and good quality food is somewhat of a luxury, but there might be other options like farmers markets and stuff like that where you can get good quality fruits and vegetables. And this is something that I learned from a nutritionist friend of mine when I was like starting my healing journey from panic disorder. He kind of more in the holistic view, and also this is not medical advice, but for some reason in my brain, this made sense. The root chakra is what grounds us. It keeps us grounded, it keeps us calm. And he told me if you eat root vegetables to strengthen the energy of the root chakra, that can really help. So, what I started doing was making juices with a lot of organic root vegetables. I'm talking beets, carrots. I have ginger in there. Um, I don't think celery is a root vegetable, but I do a lot of celery. I encourage you to do your own research. And if you can find ways to support local farmers or your local farmers markets, and of course, whether things are open or not, I understand that that's a restriction, but look at what you're putting in your body. Because I promise you, at the height of panic disorder for me, I was just shoveling in Big Macs and French fries. And what do you think that tells you at a subconscious level, right? Like, what are you worthy of what is going on inside? The mind, body, and soul connection is connected. It's not separate. You cannot tell yourself that you are totally safe, healthy, whole, and complete. And exactly, hurry up and eat this trash. Like, oh my God. No, you're not sitting down to savor a Big Mac. I eat it in shame, or I ate it in shame and then disposed of the evidence. Like, what's going on with that? When I make my juice in my juicer, I leave the evidence, which is just like an entrail of, it's just my kitchen's a mess. I leave it there all damn day. I'm just like, yeah, I did it. So the mind, body, soul connection is a connection. You cannot treat your stomach like some toxic dumpster and tell yourself that your soul and spirit gets to be well, healthy, whole, complete, at peace, in control, empowered. You cannot do it. I've tried, trust me. And I'm not saying completely deprive yourself of those things that you do love. Like, I love having a good steak and fries, but I keep it down to once a month, right? Um, I do my best to eat organic. I do my best to support the local community. I'm blessed to be in a place with a ton of farmers, and that makes me feel good too. The connection, if you guys are in my Facebook group, I'm like all about connection, all of that good stuff, okay? So that's just a little note about food. Again, I don't know if you have access to a physician and insurance or some way to do this. I strongly recommend getting your blood panels taken. And I don't know if it's called blood panels, but this year I got my blood done and I came back with low phosphorus. And I went and looked up the symptoms of low phosphorus. It was low energy, and I had been experiencing really low energy. Um, this was about 6 months ago, and like recently in the last 3 months I've been doing the juicing religiously, like looking at my nutrition, all of this stuff. But I looked at the symptoms of low phosphorus. Guess what? Anxiety. And and low energy. So I was like, okay, well, let's look at things that I can do. So there might also be, I also want to say that I don't want to discount the fact, like, I'm not saying that like mental illness is some kind of myth. I'm not one of those people. I believe that antidepressants have saved my life on two separate occasions. I'm never going to be the person that says, don't take the pills, don't take the medication. But I am going to be the person that says, like, put down the Big Mac, go get your blood taken if you can, and see what is going on with all of that. Okay. Um, so get your blood panels done if you can. I understand that's a luxury for people, but if you can, I recommend go getting an appointment. And why is the chat hidden? Okay. Did they check your hormone levels? Alicia, they did not check my hormone levels. And here's another thing, is that you need to be proactive with your health. That's one of the things she said. The physician said that she was going to like look at all of these things. And the reason I got my blood done was because I had a pit in my stomach. You're all free, healthy, clear. Please reject that at an unconscious level. It's not for you. So you have to be proactive. And if you have the luxury of going to a naturopath who can sit down and really sit there and look at for you, that's really great. I'm on military insurance, so I'm grateful for it, absolutely, but I have to go back and say, let's look at my hormone levels. However, what I will say, the things that I've been doing that I'm teaching you guys here, I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better in my life. So I'm not feeling it as compelling to go. The pit in my stomach is gone. Yeah, like it's all good. Okay. So exercise. And I'm not saying you have to go CrossFit and lift weights and be like some yoga babe or like six-pack dude or anything like that. Go take a damn walk. It can be gentle and move your body. I don't know what everyone's personal situation is, but everyone here on video is at, well, maybe not you, Alicia. There's an exit sign in the back, but if we're at home all day and we're on our screens all day, and we forget to move because we get stuck in these patterns, it ain't good. So even if it's just a walk around the block and start noticing the different. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So from what I'm seeing in videos, we're all at home environments, right? Okay. So leaving the house or at least moving our body. Okay. So there's the body stuff. We're going to talk about mind now. Social media. Beautiful tool, terrible master. Beautiful tool, terrible master. I have not met any of you in person, so I imagine we connected on social media somehow, some way. Nick is on here because we are part of a group where we have a mutual interest and adoration in a certain writer. We are all here because of social media, and that is beautiful, and I am forever grateful. In 2020, the times when I was close to backsliding or relapsing into a panic disorder were the times when I could not stop scrolling down all sorts of like rabbit holes, all of this stuff. So I had to get really serious about, what does social media mean in my life and how am I going to interact with it? I don't think it's healthy to say, I'm never going to use social media again and try to cut it out of your life, because it's here to stay. And again, it is a beautiful, beautiful tool. But I invite you to look at, first of all, if you signed up, maybe you had some time to do the anxiety tracker in the workbook, and maybe you noticed that anxiety or symptoms of anxiety were coming up when you were scrolling on social media. Yesterday being a beautiful example, I really had, how would I know that yesterday was going to happen? But when it was happening, I was like, well, I'm glad I'm teaching this workshop tomorrow. But here's some of the things that I do. And you can make this your own, and you can adapt to what it is, and you can take little baby steps, all right? I've started to put my phone on airplane mode starting at 9 o'clock at night. And I take it off when I feel grounded. After I've written down my affirmations and my decisions for the day, my affirmations helping me focus on what I do want to create for my life. Um, Being in that place, if my son isn't going to school that day, really connecting over breakfast with him and being there. And then when I'm grounded, maybe turning my phone on. I will turn it on earlier on days that he is at school, because they communicate via the app and everything's fluid right now, and I want to be responsive if they need me to pick him up for some reason to help with health regulations and all of that stuff. um, Another thing that has really helped is, I don't want to say never scroll again. I don't think that's realistic. And you might actually enjoy going through Instagram stories. You might actually enjoy scrolling through things. But if you set a timer, 15, 20, 10 minutes, and let that timer kind of snap you out of that trance, again, watch The Social Network, because these things are designed to put you in a trance, in a state of hypnosis. All right. And hypnosis basically means you are in a state of deep concentration and you're receiving suggestions at an unconscious level. Social media has been designed to do this for you in a very, very genius way. And if we are not protective of what is going into our subconscious mind, we end up with anxiety, fear, confusion, overwhelm, all of these things that aren't serving our highest and greatest good until we consciously decide to transform it into a tool and modify our behavior over it. Yeah, putting your phone in another room at night. And yeah, the whole thing, I got so depressed several months ago when I noticed my husband and I, first thing we did in the morning, pick up our phones. We weren't connecting with each other. Like I was like, what is this? It's so stupid. Like, here's this guy that I love, but I'm just like, oh, tell me what to be scared of and angry about today, please. Instead of like, let's go have some tea and coffee together. It's a different thing. Another thing is the content. Uh, we are in like a fear porn era, and I invite you to find news sources that aren't like fear porning all over you. That's not to say like don't check in every day, but for me, what has really worked for me, and this might work for you and might not, I really enjoy long form conversations over podcasts with podcast hosts that will have people on from all kinds of different backgrounds. Joe Rogan, hate him or love him, I don't know why you'd hate him. Maybe because he's a little bro-y, but he has guests on that are like from all sides of the spectrum. He's respectful, and he's not clickbaity in the way he does things. So these are dignified conversations that offer alternative perspectives to what your belief system might be, and it offers it in a way that doesn't necessarily contribute to the division, this division that we're seeing. Like, I woke up this morning and saw my dad fighting with his mom on Facebook, and my dad is like, and I mean, he founded a beautiful therapy practice, like all of these things, and they're fighting. Like, we're being wired for this shit. We have to unwire ourselves from it. Okay. And by doing that is like understanding other perspectives, finding ways that aren't just dumping information on us and then just being like, okay, you go deal with it, and then we're wondering why anxiety is an epidemic. All right. Okay. So also find content, YouTube and podcasts that support your compelling vision of your future. So this might mean turning off the fear porn or the current events. And again, I'm not saying like stick your head in the sand. it's probably good to know what is going on, but you don't need up to the minute information every single second. Maybe give yourself 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes at night to get the information. That's all you need. The rest of the time, what is it that you want to do? You want to be a good writer? Go find a YouTube channel of someone who talks about writing and publishing and everything that goes on with that. You want to feel healed and well and grounded. Go find a YouTube channel that deals with that. Go find podcasts, attend workshops like this, not just me, but other people out there. There's so many other people out there with really great perspectives and tools. And I'm going to do this weekly also. Like, I can tell, like, yeah. Good. Like, so Carrie's saying she ignores the news for the most part unless something crazy happens. I'm not an advocate of sticking your head in the sand, which is, I'm not saying that's what you do, Carrie, but also I know people in my life who are just like attached to the news, and it makes them literally crazy. So finding the content to help you put the pieces of a beautiful future together, this ties into the next thing with your mind, doing your mission, vision, and values. Okay, so I'm here to help creatives like build a life that is aligned, authentic, and abundant, meaning hopefully get paid to do what you love. So that mission, vision, values, that's imperative for anyone who's going out as a business enterprise. A lot of creatives don't think of themselves as a business enterprise, but if you want to get paid for what you want to do, you are in business, okay? But mission, vision, values, connecting with that, like knowing when I wake up in the morning, I am here to help creatives be aligned, authentic, and abundant. Good. I can ground into that. What's going to help with that? Should I go watch CNN for 2 hours? No, that's not going to help with the mission. Vision. What is the vision for my life? There's a vision of connection, of flexibility, of freedom, of going all around the world. And since I'm a military spouse, of getting my ideas out in a really great way. Should I go watch CNN for 2 hours to support that? No. Should I spend an extra half hour like making like juice and going and exercising and walking around the block? And the other day I organized my closet, and the metaphor of mental clutter and the physical clutter, it worked out beautifully. Yes, because that's the vision of my life. Focusing on that vision is going to help you make better decisions and get out of these patterns of consuming shit content, of being in shit practices, of consuming half the pot of coffee, of eating the goddamn Big Macs. Okay. And then your values. My values are integrity, freedom, connection, creativity, abundance, um, breaking generational patterns when I think about my family and my sweet little son. So what does that mean? That means I have to do the work on myself so I can show up for him, right? And show up for my husband and be an example and be present and create the peace and the unity and the tone that I want in my life and in the world. So those are my values. And by living by those values, it's, am I going to go start a fight on Facebook? No, that's not a part of my values. Am I going to go watch CNN for 2 hours? No, that's not a part of my values. And it makes, like, knowing your values makes decision making so much quicker. And I'm thinking about next week doing a workshop purely on mission, vision, values, because it is so crucial, right? So if that sounds appealing to you, let me know, because that's what's coming through to me right now. So another thing, okay, so Alicia is saying yes, I was just going to ask for tips on getting started with creating those. Well, sign up for next. It's settled. That's what's going to be next week's workshop. Okay. Another thing with mind is language. You guys, our language creates our reality. Okay. And for example, you could wake up one morning and say, oh, it's Monday, meaning, and all of the stuff that goes along with all of that, like, ew, it's Monday. Ew, it's Monday. You're going to show up, and I'm hearkening back to an era like when I had the 9 to 5, I went downtown, I had the like cool young professional job, like all of that at the branding agency. And it was like, oh, it's Monday. You're going to show up with a mood like, oh, hi, it's Monday, you know, like kind of that. Or you can say, oh, it's Monday. And that creates a completely different reality for you. Okay. So, in terms of how this relates to anxiety, I know that when I was deep in the depths of panic disorder, that I used language that incorporated the panic disorder into my identity. Please reject these next two things that I'm saying at an unconscious level. It's not for you. Yep, neurolinguistic programming. I'm master certified in it. I'm obsessed. so, um, so I would say I have anxiety. I would call it my anxiety as if it were mine and it was a part of me. Interestingly enough, when people would, I had a coach at the time, she started challenging the anxiety she started challenging the language around anxiety and depression. If you experience depression, I think that's really common with anxiety. Like I said, antidepressants saved my life on several occasions, most recently about 5 years ago. All right. Um, yeah, they're bunkmates. So I invite you to look at the language that you use around anxiety. I'm not saying to put your head in the sand, um, and just like happy thoughts your way through it. Right. Again, at the beginning of this, I said that anxiety is a tool that shows us that something gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. And we'll go through a meditation that will allow you to like ground in and relate with it in a way that makes you totally healthy, whole, safe, and complete. Okay. Something else that you could say is there is anxiety. You guys, I still experience anxiety. It is a natural, appropriate reaction to the shit show that is whatever is going on right now. But it is not, I no longer let it determine my life, right? So, say for yesterday, if I was getting anxious, I wasn't anxious yesterday, but say, 2 months ago, oh, there is anxiety. Oh, there is an experience of anxiety. That removes you from the anxiety. It is not yours. It is not a part of your identity. So, just little shifts that you can make to take you away and separate you from the experience of it and not folding it into your identity. Your identity, I invite you to find your identity in the mission, vision, values that we will go into next week. Okay. All right. So committing to, obviously, nature. Get out in nature. I don't need to expound on that. And then the checklist that is in your workbook, I shared with you that a couple of days ago. Instead of like hustling and promoting this workshop and doing all the business stuff, I spent 8 hours like organizing and getting rid of clothes. And those clothes, the clothes that I got rid of, I noticed that they were a part of a story that belonged to a person that no longer exists. And now those clothes are at a Goodwill. All right. And the most significant one was there was a sweatshirt that I bought that said Paris on it, and it was from the first time I went to Paris, and I hung on to it all this time because I got it the first time I went to Paris, and it was such a special time. But I felt disconnected from it, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, that is a woman who no longer exists. Like, and it's okay to release it, just like we would release anxiety in the moment. Okay. Um, any other questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat. And let's get ready for the meditation. I leave an hour and a half for these workshops. I am going to try to keep this meditation to 15 or 20 minutes to respect your guys' time if you need to leave on that hour. If you do need to leave, I just want to let you know, thank you so much for being here. If you feel compelled if you enjoyed this workshop, if you could leave me a 5-star review on my Facebook page, just talking about the workshop and how useful it was, I think that helps other people know what they're getting into. I would really, really appreciate it. I can send out a link to you guys afterwards to go and do that. Any other questions? Okay. All right, cool. And then the workbook, you guys, the confirmation email that you guys would get from Eventbrite, there should have been a download link from that. And I will also send up a follow-up email with a new link just in case you weren't able to find it for one reason or another. With that, with all of the practical stuff, we're put into these binary thought traps that we're either creative or we're practical or da 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 da, and we are all things. We might have a proclivity toward one or the other, but in these workshops, I really want to give you the practical, tangible tools that you can use, but I also want to appeal to your subconscious and the spiritual part and the part of us that is connected to maybe a greater creator, God, universe, source, all that is, whatever you ascribe to it, there is something bigger than us. And when we tune into who we truly are, when we decide that we are the authority in our lives, and when we keep it clean and we act from pure intention, beautiful fucking things happen, like really beautiful things. It doesn't mean that there's never a hardship or like uncertainty in the future, but beautiful things happen. So let us all ground in and get started on this meditation. And what I would invite you to do right now is close your eyes and get comfortable, get all of your fidgets out. And if you want to turn off your video, you can turn off your video. If you want to keep on your video, you can keep on your video. It's all up to you. I invite you to get all of your fidgets out. Our subconscious mind, when we know we're about to like do something like that it's not used to, or like it's the ego that wants to like make you fidget or twitch or something like that. Just get all of it out. Let your ego know that it's safe, that it's still going to have some control over you. But for now, you're going to connect to a greater, higher source. Okay. So, again, I said at the beginning of this that anxiety is a tool that gets to show you that something gets to shift, release, resolve, or heal. And that all sounds really good, but let me take you through an experience of doing that in this meditation. So, right now, what I want you to do is close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time. Make it the biggest, the deepest. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And just settle into your body. And what I want you to know is that you're totally safe, healthy, whole, and complete in this experience. And what I want you to do is just start scanning your body. Just scan it up and down and notice any places that get to release any tension. So maybe your jaw, maybe the tongue comes off the roof of your mouth, maybe your ears get to relax a little bit. Maybe you hold the tension in your shoulders or in your stomach. Just scan your body real quick and notice what you can notice really quickly. Trust your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is the part of you that's just going to tell you weird, random things. Just start listening to it in relation to this prompt of releasing the tension. Where do you get to release the tension? Maybe in your eyelids or at the corners of your eyes. Whatever it is for you, just trust it immediately. And right now, what I want you to do is bring your awareness to your heart. Again, your heart is this gift that was given to you before you were even born. Your heart was given to you because you're worthy just as you are. You're safe just as you are. You're worthy of life and creation just as you are. It started beating before you came into this world, and it beats all day and every night, allowing you to live, sending life giving blood to all of your organs, to the very tips of your fingers, to your brain, to your lungs. I just want you to focus on your heart and just give it immense gratitude and feel the beauty of that gift. Feel the beauty and the gratitude, if you choose to feel the gratitude for such a simple, inherent thing that you were given before you were even born, and just feel it now, here. Feel the safety, feel the gift. Breathe in and let it go. And know that that gratitude and that gift is always accessible to you if you choose to do it. Now, what I want you to do, knowing that you're totally safe, healthy, whole, and complete, I want you to ask your unconscious mind, and this is where you get to trust. Just trust what comes up to you. When you experience anxiety, where do you experience it? In your body. And trust what comes up right now. Trust what comes up. And I want you to focus on that sensation, all right? I actually want you to bring up that sensation of anxiety, knowing that you're totally healthy, safe, whole, and complete where you are, but bring up that sensation in that location in your body and just let it be. Bring it up and be compassionate toward it. Don't judge it. Just let it be what it is. And what it is a tool that's showing you that something inside of you gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. It gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. And if you can now, try to see or feel or hear or experience the anxiety as that gift that's showing you that something gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. I'm going to give you a second here to just experience the anxiety in a compassionate and maybe if you choose to, maybe grateful that it's here to show you that something gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. Okay? Maybe experiencing it in a light or in a way that you've never experienced it before. And just sit with that for a moment. And let it be inside your body just for a minute, imagining it there as it is, just for a moment. And now what I want you to do is take the anxiety out of your body and put it in front of you. Imagine yourself putting it in front of you. And I want you to give it a persona. If the anxiety was a person, who would it be? This is another really fun way to trust your unconscious mind. Some really wild stuff might be coming up. It might be a version of you when you were a little child. It might be a TV character. It might be just someone that you've never met before, but trust your unconscious mind. If your anxiety was a person, who would they be? And let that person come forth to you right now. They can be sitting in front of you or maybe next to you. I'm going to give you a second to experience this. Good. Good job trusting your unconscious mind. Good job. It doesn't make sense, but it's absolute total wisdom that you've had inside of you all of this time. Now, as you look at this person, I want you to see the humanity in this person. Yes, they're annoying. And yes, they've been burdensome in the past. And yes, maybe you're not always excited to see them. That is all true. We can let all of that be true. And let's see the humanity in them. Let's see them as a full human being with desires and wishes, and someone who's doing the best that they can, the best that they possibly can. And all they want, just like all of us, is to be heard and acknowledged and know that they matter. That's all they want. That's all they want. And this person, possibly for your whole life, has been trying to tell you something, that something gets to heal, shift, release, or resolve. And the natural inclination, through no fault of your own or our own, is to run because it's painful. It's painful. But in sitting down and giving this person a voice and letting them know that they matter and what they have to say is valid and valuable, maybe something can shift. Maybe something can shift. And maybe we can stop running. So, as you sit down next to this person and you see their humanity and see them for who we all are, someone who wants compassion, acceptance for who we are and our magic in the world, even if we don't like their magic, even if their magic is uncomfortable, even if their magic has caused great pain in the past, just seeing them for who they are. And see if you can concentrate on your heart and just imagine your heart pouring out beautiful, beautiful white light onto them, just spilling it out onto them, covering them in it rather. And just feel that compassion for this person. Feeling that compassion and knowing now that you guys are both totally safe, healthy, whole, and complete. Completely protected, given this life, given this heart before you were even born. And I want you to turn to that person, or maybe you're sitting next to them, whatever is coming up for you. Trust your unconscious mind. However this experience is playing out for you is absolutely perfect, okay? It's absolutely perfect. I want you to turn to them and say, I'm listening. What do you need me to know? I'm listening. What do you need me to hear? I am here for you. Trust your unconscious mind as your unconscious mind shows you what this person has to say to you. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes here. Trust what comes up. And if you need to judge it for a moment and then put the judgment away and then turn back to that person and say, I'm listening. What do you need me to hear? And observe the emotions as they come up. Observe the information as it comes up. The information coming up right now is showing you what you get to heal, shift, release, or resolve. And it is, in essence, the start of a journey. Let it come up, continuing to pour out compassion, giving this person a voice, letting them be heard, knowing that you are totally safe, healthy, whole, and complete, giving them that voice. I'll give you another minute or so. Again, if you need to judge, judge. Don't judge the judgment, but let it pass. And then get curious. Wow, this is what's coming up. Wow, I haven't thought about that in a really long time. Wow, maybe this is something I get to explore a little more. Wow, how interesting. Curiosity, compassion, creativity, and approaching things in a new way. It's what creates new experiences and new realities, where we show up in our own lives, being our own leaders and our own authority, creating our own sovereignty, dancing with the discomfort. I want you to give another 30 seconds to this person and let them know that if there's more to say, you'll come back to them. No problem. You're going to come back to them. It's okay. All right. And just let them know if they need to wrap anything up, they can wrap it up now, and you promise to come back in this really safe way, in this really beautiful way. And now I want you to look at them and I want you to thank them from the bottom of your heart that is still pouring out this beautiful, beautiful, full, beautiful white light and covering them in it. Thank them from the bottom of your heart and say, I'll be back. And when you are ready, you can start wiggling your toes and your fingers, and you can come back into the room whenever you are ready. And shake it out and take a sip of water if you have it nearby. I can't remember if I was as bossy about the water in my reminder emails this time. In your workbook, there is a space to write down anything that came up. If there are no more questions, I'm actually going to end this so you guys can write down whatever came up in the meditation. So hopefully you understand the format of the meditation. I'll send out the replay, of course, so you can you're welcome, Emma. You can go through this meditation at any point, or you can make the meditation your own. You don't necessarily need my guidance. I want you to understand this. You're welcome, Alicia. I want you to understand this. You don't need some life coach, some fucking guru, or some therapist. Like, we're here to teach you tools. You are there to make it your own and incorporate it into your life, okay? And so if you enjoy the facilitation, obviously life coaches and therapists are really good for that. But I don't ever want you to think like, oh, I can't afford a workshop. I can't afford a life coach. No, there are tools out there. You get to make them your own. You get to experience them as your own. So if you take that meditation and make it your own and take inspired action based on that tool, based on that format, go for it. There's no hard and true answer, okay? Except for the one that you have in your heart. No one can tell you what that is. No one. All right. So Carrie's saying, I've been doing free workshops and challenges and just mashing everything together that works into a toolbox. Carrie, that's how I started. Like, before I could ever fathom investing in like a paid program or a life coach, it was podcasts, it was free workshops, it was free challenges just like yours. And I obviously, I believe in the power of hiring a coach. I believe in the power of paid containers. It's a different thing. And At the same time, I believe in the power of investing your time to showing up to free things like this if it resonates with you, right? These things, if you let them, can provide tremendous, tremendous value. If you decide, you have to decide, right? And also it's your discernment whether like you resonate with the facilitator or the host or whoever, right? Like I'm not going to be for everyone and everyone's not for everyone else. Like it's totally fine. So so when I was taking all those free resources, eventually that led me to a place where I was investing money and time. And that's a whole different journey. And it's amazing. It's all amazing. Just be where you're at, you know? And if there's an offer for a paid thing that comes up that you resonate with, do that. But if it's free things and that's where you're at, do that. Like it's all absolutely perfect. So if there's no other questions, you guys, I will send out the replay as soon as I can. Go ahead. You don't need the workbook to write down what came up for you in that meditation. You can just grab any old journal or whatever. One investment I would encourage you to make is a great journal and a great pen. It just makes it better. It really does. And you can do it for under $20. So, write down what came up in the meditation. If you are in my group, I will see you later in the group. And next week we'll do mission, vision, values. So be on the lookout for that in my email list and on social media. And I'm also going to send you a link if you feel moved to, if you got value for this or from this, if this is something that helped shift you and you feel like other people need to know about it and need assistance in making a decision to show up in the future, I'm going to send a link to my Facebook review page, and that would be tremendously helpful for me. And I wish you all the best, a great day, and I really appreciate you guys showing up. Nick, thanks, Emma. Nick, I didn't think you were going to make it live. It's really great to see you. I'm sending you all love, as always, and have a great day. Stay safe, stay sane, drink a lot of water. Coffee is not a food group, okay? I love you guys. Bye.